You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries. As we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media, this is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events most of all. Thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And holy cow, it might take the whole broadcast today for the celebrations. There's a lot of celebrating to do today. Let's take a look at them. Maybe some of them we'll just skip. First Contact Day. I don't know about that one. Does anybody even use a flash drive anymore? I mean, there's so many different services out there. I don't know if anybody even uses a flash drive, so we're out of that one. Nebraska. Who won wasn't it Kansas that won the game last night? So Nebraska, we shouldn't be celebrating Nebraska. Celebrate Kansas. They won the big game, unless you're into baseball. And I don't want to cause any trouble with anybody, but 2 in a row for the Angels. I'm just saying. And the Dodgers did have their A lineup in the game last night. So that's not, you can't always just buy the Yankees proved that you can't buy a championship. The Dodgers are trying to see if they can do a little better. Let's see. You get these celebrations. Flash drive. I don't think anybody uses that. Read a roadmap. Who reads a roadmap? We've got Alexa, and we've got Siri, and we've got all these other, I don't know what we want to say. But they tell you where to go. I'm married. My wife tells me where to go. I don't need the map. Let's see what else. Library. Didn't we already do Library Workers Day recently? I mean, is that on? Are they pushing library workers right now? What's the deal? I thought we already had Library Workers Day, but that's today is Library Workers Day. Yesterday was School Librarian Day. Okay. I'm not going to talk about librarians, although I will say school workers, rsrhero.com, rsrhero.com. We give our teachers and our medical, police, fire, and of course our veterans, they all get a $500 lender credit when they close a loan with Ron Siegel Radio, rsrhero.com. Now, having beaten anorexia, I'm looking, there's a few of them on here. Raisin and Spice Bar Day, okay. Those are usually kind of messy, but that's okay. Maybe if we put a little caramel on top of them, because today is Caramel Day. Caramel, caramel. How do you say it? Josh and I were talking about this before the broadcast. Caramel, caramel, whatever. Just put it on my ice cream, please. Either way, I don't care. And of course, Deep Dish Pizza Day. Now, I'm going to just throw this out there. If you are in North Orange County, Tony's makes the best deep dish pizza. Now, I do go to Chicago, Gino's, Gennardo, whatever. They make great pizza too, deep dish. Tony's in Placentia. In fact, being that now that our team has told me that it's Deep Dish Pizza Day, thanks, Josh. Thanks, Levin. I know that we've got that there. I might have to call Tony's and order a pizza today. I might just have to go and do that. Josh, I can't send one to you. It's too far. It won't. Hey, here's the other question. Okay, now we got to put this up on a post on one of our things. In fact, throw into our Instagram. Here's the question of the day: cut or uncut? You ever thought about that? I order the pizza over there at Tony's all the time. Now they don't always get it for me, but I always order it uncut. Two reasons. Number one, deep dish pizza, when it's cut, some of those slices can be pretty massive. And it travels better when it's uncut, right? You cut it and the dough gets soggy and all that. You cut it at home. Cut it when you get wherever you're going. So I'm going to ask you, cut or uncut on the deep dish pizza for today. Got to make sure we get that on our social channels. Now, speaking of social channels, Josh, I lost. Okay, so I put it out there yesterday. We talked about yesterday that we got a new little puppy, added a little girl to our family. And the final two choices went down to Lola or Bentley. Last time I looked, we were like 83% wanted Lola. So I was the one looking for Bentley, but I guess I can't count on you guys to help me out on that one. So, and I might have gotten overridden anyway, because guess who wants Lola? Yeah, the boss wants Lola, so probably going to be Lola. Okay, let's take a look at the markets. Dow Jones Industrial Average down 76 points. NASDAQ is down 200. Where'd it go? 254 points. Ow! Most of my holdings are in the NASDAQ, so I'm not too excited by the NASDAQ being down 254 points. Oil's down 37 cents per barrel, so that's good right there on that one. Probably won't have a lot of effect. I'll look at it. We didn't look at this yesterday. So maybe it's because we didn't want to look at it. Lori is still at $3.96. $3.96 for Lori. She's our tremendous underwriter. She is out there in Louisiana. The queen of the team, Jody, in Arizona, $4.64. I don't. Is it a female issue, Josh? I don't know. Maybe, because you and I are paying over $5 a gallon. Josh is at $5.17, and the winner is right here in the formerly Golden State. With all the fires here, maybe we just call it the Brown State. California, $5.84 a gallon of gasoline. $5.84 a gallon of gasoline is the average. $4.17 is the national average, and $5.22 in the oil-producing state of Hawaii. $5.22. I'm looking at the map right here. AAA gives us this information. Gas prices on AAA. For some reason, and I don't know why this is, all of the western states are all in the higher price. They break it into 5 different sections. The only state that in the union that's in the highest quintile is Illinois. Other than that, we've got Arizona, Utah, Nevada, Idaho, Oregon, Washington, Nevada, and California are the leaders. California, Nevada, Hawaii are the only states over $5 a gallon. Everyone else, well, maybe the other ones produce more oil than we do. That gets me ill. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. Got a big broadcast for you today. What you need to budget for when buying a home. Medical debt removal from credit reports potentially impacts millions of consumers. Last-minute tax moves could save you money. Maybe you don't want to save any money. Josh and I talked about this one. We know that the people that owe money haven't done their taxes yet. The people that are getting a refund, they already did their taxes. So we know who's going to be listening to this one. And what real property details matter in divorce mortgage planning, all that and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, it's 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, shame on you. But the replay is available. Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Checking the markets. Dow Jones Industrial Average now down 95.5 points. The Nasdaq's down 264 points. S&P 500 is down 31 points. The 10-year Treasury up 14 basis points, and mortgage-backed securities, those are down 83 basis points. Ugh. That's very, very painful. What does that mean for you? Well, the mortgages, yesterday, OBMMI, they are the ones that we get our data from. Yesterday, mortgages locked 30-year conforming 4.866 on the 30-year conforming, 15 years 3.925, 30-year jumbos at 4.383, and the 30-year FHA loan at 4.87. And I'm going to tell you right now, with the bonds moving up 83 basis points today, that number is going to be higher by a lot tomorrow. Why? Why is this happening to us? Well, we got a Fed speakers out there on the trail today. And when they go out there and speak, you got to be careful because it does move the markets. So we've got Fed Governor Lael Brainerd and New York Fed President John Williams, both voting members of the Federal Reserve. So Ms. Brainerd came out and said she wants to see the Federal Reserve reduce their balance sheet. What does that mean? Well, she doesn't want the Federal Reserve buying the bonds anymore. If they're not buying bonds, there is less demand. When there's less demand, and the supply is still there, the prices of the bond will drop, which, as I just shared with you, they have dropped now 86 basis points. That's almost 1% drop in the bond. That generally will equate to about 0.25% in the interest rates themselves. So bond goes down mathematically. That means rates go up. That's the way it works. Now, let's take a look further. CoreLogic released their home price index report showing that home prices rose by 2.2% in February and 20% on a year-over-year basis, which is an acceleration from the 18.5% in January and the highest reading in the 45-year history of the index. CoreLogic, though, they've been missing their forecast by a large margin. Let's take a look at what CoreLogic forecasted in February. They anticipated a 0.2% reading in the month. Meanwhile, we saw 2.2%. Missed just by, about 11 times? When we look to their report from last year at this time, they forecasted the home prices would increase 3.2%. Meanwhile, they reported today that prices rose 20%. I guess
You know better than that.
I guess CoreLogic is probably not the one to get our advice from. CoreLogic forecasted home prices will appreciate 0.6% in March and 5% in the year going forward, which is finally moving up a bit from the 3.8 in their previous reports. Now, here's the idea. If the appreciation is only 5%, if it's only 5%, that's great. Because think about this. If you go and buy a house 10% down, that means you're getting 50% return on your capital invested, because the appreciation is not on your capital, it's on the asset in whole, on the property in whole. So if the property, if they're right, which I don't think they are, because we're already moving along higher than that, we're already targeting higher. Well, the idea there is at 5%, it's a nice return on your money. So let's just think about that part. Top areas of appreciation: Phoenix, 30%. San Diego, 25%. And you might hear Josh in the background applauding 27% appreciation right there in Las Vegas. So we got a lot of Fed presidents still to speak. Hopefully some of them will settle the market. Neil Kashkari, not a voting member, he's going to speak. Fed governor, we told you about Brainerd and John Williams, both voting members. So let's see what they have to say. That is the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. Hey, do you know anybody looking to buy, sell, or refinance? If you do, can we count on you to send them our way? We can help them. Our team is standing by. Operators are standing by. All right, we've got that team sitting there or standing. Well, they're probably sitting right now, but ready to help out. Let's take a look and see. I think I've got a Your Credit Matters segment brought to you by creditsanitizer.com. You have a credit report. It is wrong. What are you doing about it? Credit Sanitizer has the solutions for you. Last minute tax moves, and we talked to you about this a little bit ago. We know who you are. You have those that have not filed your taxes. You're the ones that have to pay. I know you're getting ready for your extensions too, right? So you can wait till next October to file your returns. Last minute tax moves that could save you money. Most financial moves that can impact your taxes are set in stone come New Year's Day. However, there are a few last minute moves that can make up until the tax filing deadline, which is April 18th. Must be some odd holiday on the 15th, Josh. I don't know why that is, but we'll have to look at that. See if you can use these to help lower your tax bill or increase your refund. Contribute to tax-deferred accounts. You may receive a tax deduction for your contributions to tax-advantaged accounts. While contributions to 401k have to be made before the end of the year, the contribution deadline for individual retirement arrangements, IRAs, health savings accounts, HSAs, is actually the tax filing deadline in April. Eligibility and contribution limits for either type of account can vary, so make sure you qualify before opening or adding more money to your account. If you qualify and make a contribution before April 18th, you may be able to choose if you want the money to go toward 2021 or 2022. Low to moderate income households might also benefit from Savers Credit, which could lower your tax bill by up to 50% of your retirement account savings. HSA contributions do not qualify. The Savers Credit can be worth up to $1,000 or $2,000 if you're married and filing jointly. Look for and claim tax deductions. A tax preparer, tax preparation software, may ask you a series of questions to help identify which tax deductions you may be able to claim. Make sure you carefully answer these questions to avoid missing out. You may want to be particularly mindful if you had a side gig or freelance work last year. Even if you didn't receive a 1099 NEC, companies, individuals are not required to send you one if they didn't pay you over $600. You still are a small business owner in the eyes of the IRS. Being a business owner could help you qualify for various tax deductions, including some that you might not think of as a business expense. For example, you may be able to deduct the cost of your health insurance, dental and long-term care insurance premiums, up to your net income from self-employment. If you weren't eligible for insurance through your work or from your spouse's work, consider what other major life events happened last year and research if they could impact your taxes. In some cases, hiring a tax accountant who has experience with people in similar situations could save you money. Pay your taxes even if you get an extension. If the tax deadline is creeping up and you're not going to be able to prepare and file your tax return, you can request an extension instead. It's a free option that can automatically push your tax filing deadline to October 15th. While a tax extension can help you avoid a failure to file penalty, it does not extend how long you have to pay the taxes you owe. You'll still want to make an estimated payment, or you could have to pay a failure to pay penalty plus interest. To save time, you may be able to automatically request an extension if you make your tax payment online. Look into for free tax preps options. If you're ready to file, you may be able to save money by using free tax preparation software or services. The IRS Free File programs tax preparation software to most taxpayers for free. There are different options to choose from, including software from well-known companies like Tax Slayer and Tax Act, Intuit, TurboTax. Software includes free federal filing, and some of the options also come with free state tax prep and filing. You can also look into getting free help from an IRS certified volunteer through the IRS's Volunteer Income Tax Assistance, that's VITA, or Tax Counseling for the Elderly, TCE programs. There are sites across the country, but households may need to have an income of $58,000 or less, as I share with you all the time. Consult your tax professional. I'm a radio guy, do some lending, radio, lead a great lending team. Not a tax professional, not an enrolled agent. Those guys spend a lot of time learning. So I just want to make sure that you're going and getting the great counsel from those folks. They know what they're doing, and you want to make sure, unless you want to pay that extra money. There are some people that, I remember way back when, long time ago, I was just getting out of college, or I was in my last year of college. My accountant said, yeah, I know, Josh, that was a long time ago. My tax accountant said to me that, be careful, because did you take this deduction? I said, no. I knew everything. As most guys in college, that age, we know everything. Just ask us. So the tax man said, did you do this? And I said, no. And he said, did you do this? And I said, no. And he said, did you do this? And I said, no. And he said, those three would have saved you about $800. And oh, by the way, I charge $175. I know it's a long time ago. Taught me the idea that you want to get great counsel. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, medical debt removal, we got that on tap for you. What you need to budget for when buying a home, and the better outcome segment, brought to you by CDLP.com. What real property details matter in divorce, mortgage planning, all that and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, it's 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions, as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio, or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Visit rsrhomescout.com, rsrhomescout.com. Gotta love it. They have a great service, rsrhomescout.com. Great service. They're going to be the ones out there that are going to tell you what your property's worth. 4 different sources, including the one that's not accurate, in my opinion. But they put it on there just because we know you're going there anyway. So we figured we'd make it a little easier for you. rsrhomescout.com. You can also search for properties that are on the MLS. Do a search there, and you can find out a lot about properties that are available all over the country. Actually, about 97% of the country is covered. What you need to budget for when buying a home. When it comes to buying a home, it can feel a bit intimidating to know how much you need to save and where to find that information. But you should know you're not expected to have all the answers yourself. There are many trusted professionals who can help you understand your finances and what you'll need to budget for throughout the process. To get you started, here are a few things experts say you should plan for along the way. Number 1, down payment. As you set your savings goals for your purchase, your down payment is likely already top of mind, and like many other people, you may believe you need to set aside 20% of the home's purchase price for that down payment. But that's not always the case. The National Association of Realtors, NAR, says, quote, one of the biggest misconceptions among housing consumers is what the typical down payment is and what amount is needed to enter home ownership. Having this knowledge is critical to know what to save, unquote. The good news is you may be able to put down as little as 3.5% or even nothing in some situations. To understand your options, partner with a trusted professional who can go over the various loan types, down payment assistance programs, and what each loan requires. Number 2, earnest money. Another item you may want to plan for is an earnest money deposit. While it is required, it's common in today's highly competitive market. It is not required. It's common in today's highly competitive market because it can help your offer stand out in a bidding war. So what is it? It's money you put to show good faith when you make an offer on a house. This deposit works like a credit. You're using some of the money you already saved for your purchase to show the seller you're committed and serious about their house. It's not an added expense. It's just paying some of that up front. First American explains what it is and how it works. Quote, the deposit made from the buyer to the seller when submitting an offer. This deposit is typically held in trust by a third party and is intended to show the seller you are serious about purchasing their home. Upon closing, the money will generally be applied to your down payment or closing costs, unquote. In other words, an earnest money deposit could be the very first check you'll write toward your purchase. The amount varies by state and situation. Realtor.com elaborates, quote, the amount you'll deposit as earnest money will depend on factors such as policies and limitations in your state, the current market, what your real estate agent recommends, and what the seller requires. On average, however, you can expect to hand over 1% to 2% of the total home purchase price, unquote. Work with a real estate advisor to understand any requirements in your local area and what they've recommended for other buyers in your market. They'll help you determine if it's something that could be a useful option for you. Number 3, closing costs. The next thing to plan for is your closing costs. The Federal Trade Commission, FTC, defines closing costs as, quote, the upfront fees charged in connection with a mortgage loan transaction, generally including but not limited to a loan origination fee, title examination and insurance, survey, attorney's fee, and prepaid items such as escrow deposits for taxes and insurance. Survey is their fancy way of saying an appraisal. Basically, your closing costs cover the fees for various people and services involved in your transaction. NAR has this to say about how much to budget for. At quote, a home costs more than just the sale price. For example, closing costs, which make up 2% to 5% of the home's purchase price, are a major added expense. Lenders provide a closing disclosure at least 3 business days prior to closing on a mortgage. But buyers will need to budget for these added costs ahead of time to avoid sticker shock before closing. That's unquote. The takeaway is savvy buyers plan ahead for these expenses so they can come into the process prepared. Freddie Mac sums it up like this, quote, if you're in the market to buy a home, your down payment is probably top of mind, and rightly so. It's likely the biggest cost of buying. However, it is not the only cost, and it's critical you understand all your expenses before diving in. The more prepared you are for your down payment, closing, and other costs, the smoother your home buying journey will be, unquote. Bottom line, knowing what to budget for in the home buying process is essential. To make sure you understand these and any other expenses that may come up, let's chat. Give us a call. Set up a free consultation. Book rsr15.com. bookrs15.com. bookrs15.com. You can get right on the calendar and we can have a chat. That's the Real-Time Real Estate segment brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Visit rsrhomescout.com. rsrhomescout.com. Better outcomes segment today. What real property details matter in divorce mortgage planning? Easy for me to say. The details of real property involved in a divorce situation can play various factors when mortgage financing is needed. This article addresses some of the more commonly overlooked details. The two most often questions regarding real property during divorce: what's it worth? And how much do I get? These are fair questions for the marital balance sheet. However, when the marital home is being retained by one party, a few more details need to be addressed to ensure optimal mortgage financing for the borrowing spouse. Remember, rsrhomescout.com can give you a great evaluation or valuation of the property from 4 trusted sources, rsrhomescout.com. So who's on title? Why does it matter? First, both spouses are not always listed as owners on the title of real property. However, this does not automatically preclude the spouse not on title from refinancing the existing loan into their name. Once the non-titled spouse is awarded the real property, they become a successor of interest, which allows them to refinance the existing mortgage into their name. However, who's on the title does come into play when an equity buyout is needed. When the borrowing spouse has not been on the title to the real property for the previous 12 months, access to equity in the home may be limited. Who's on the current mortgage and why does it matter? Well, when the spouse who is retaining the marital home is not on the existing mortgage, new mortgage financing may still be obtained as there is no longer a need to meet the continuity of obligation as required in the past. There are, however, a couple of issues to address. One, when the spouse whose name is on the existing mortgage transfers ownership to the spouse now retaining the home, the current mortgagor should be notified so they don't begin the process of accelerating the due on sale clause of the mortgage note. In addition, the retaining spouse should inform the lender that they are exercising their right to assume legal responsibility for paying the existing mortgage under the Garn-Saint-Germain Act. Note, assuming legal responsibility for paying the current mortgage is not the same as assuming the loan and does not release the original borrower from their legal obligation of the existing mortgage. Number 2, suppose the retaining spouse is refinancing the existing mortgage. In that case, any overpayments to the current lender or current escrow account balances will be refunded directly to the spouse obligated on the existing mortgage. Escrow accounts are in place for the direct payment of property taxes when they become due and payable, usually in the following year, leaving an unpaid tax liability on the real property. Once the existing mortgage is refinanced and ownership is transferred to the retaining spouse, they are now responsible for paying the property taxes when due. Any current escrow account balance on the real property should be addressed as to how any refunds should be awarded. Number 3, access to information on the existing mortgage may be denied. In most situations, when one spouse is retaining the real property and refinancing the existing mortgage into their name only, a current mortgage payment history is required. When the borrowing spouse is not on the current mortgage, obtaining the required payment history is complicated. Setting the proper expectations and gaining the cooperation of the non-borrowing spouse can help make the transaction much smoother and less complex in gathering the required documentation. How is the real property value determined and why does it matter? There are multiple ways to determine the value of real property. Two most common methods for obtaining real property value are obtaining an appraisal from a licensed appraiser or having a real estate professional provide a CMA. But what's the difference between the two? Both methods are an opinion of value, and no two will ever give the same value. The primary difference is perspective. A licensed residential appraiser completes an appraisal who bases their opinion of value on recent comparable home sold sales data. A comparative market analysis is completed by a licensed real estate professional who bases their opinion of value on what the property may potentially sell in the current real estate market. While both opinions of value are valid, it is crucial to understand the perspective of each opinion and how the two methods apply to the current situation of the marital home. For example, when considering the option of one spouse retaining the marital home and refinancing, an appraisal may be the better option. On the other hand, if considering a sale of the marital home, a CMA may be a better option. When the real property is to be refinanced, the mortgage lender must order their own lender-owned appraisal from a licensed appraiser. It may be advantageous to have the lender request the appraisal to determine value during the settlement process so everyone uses the same valuation, removing the risk of multiple values. Devil's in the details. What might seem simple at first glance may be more complex than you thought. Divorce mortgage planning is a holistic approach to the process of evaluating mortgage options in the context of the overall financial objectives as they relate to divorcing situations. As a divorce mortgage planner, a CDLP, that's me, can help you identify any potential conflicts between the divorce settlement, financial planning, and home equity solutions, as well as any real property issues involved in your case. Incorporating divorce mortgage planning into the settlement process makes it easier to identify possible solutions and assist both parties in let go of counterproductive positions. Highly recommend you get a copy of our Divorce Your Mortgage Workbook. You can grab that at mydymworkbook.com, mydymworkbook.com. I will also tell you, this is not legal advice. You can only get that, in my opinion, from a lawyer. We don't give legal advice on Ron Siegel Radio. I share with you what some of the notes are. We talk about the intersection of real estate law, taxes, real estate, and mortgages. But again, contact an attorney or tax professional to obtain legal and tax advice. Interest rates and fees are estimates provided for informational purposes only and subject to market change. That is the Better Outcome segment, brought to you by mycdlp.com, mycdlp.com. When we come back, we're going to chat a little bit medical debt removal. We'll get into that. Got some stuff to give you. I've got a bunch of free giveaways and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, and if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio, your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions, as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. So we should make sure that you did get a hold of that name because I went by it pretty quick. The workbook, mydymworkbook.com, mydymworkbook.com. I know it's on my list somewhere. There it is. Yeah, mydymworkbook.com. Josh just put that on the screen. If you're watching us on ronsiegelradio.tv, any of our socials, or the ABC News and Talk AM 1490 video feed, mydymworkbook.com. Let's see. We've also got, we talked to you about RSR Home Scout. That's a great tool if you're unfortunately, if you're going through divorce or if you just want to know what your property's worth. We also have some folks that are out there shopping for houses. RSRHomescout.com. Great tool for that. If you're shopping for a house, I hope you've read our free quarterly magazine or book, RSRHBG.com. It's the Home Buyer's Guide, RSRHBG.com. Wow, we're giving away a lot of stuff today, RSRHBG.com. And if you're selling a house, do that after you buy. Just throw that out there. It's a lot easier to sell your house in this market than it is to find one to buy. RSRHSG.com, RSRHSG.com. Just a few little giveaways for you. We'll get some more in a minute, but I do want to get you a Your Credit Matters segment brought to you by creditsanitizer.com. You have a credit report? It's wrong. They all are. Our friends over at Blue Water Credit, they do a great job of helping our families get the credit reports corrected. Medical debt removal from credit reports potentially impacts millions of consumers. The three major consumer reporting agencies, Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion, recently announced future changes to the reporting of medical collection debt. According to the CFPB, these changes will erase nearly 70% of medical collection debt from consumer reports. The changes in medical debt reporting will include paid medical collection debt will no longer be reported on consumer credit reports. That's effective July 1st, 2022. Consumers will have more time to work with insurance and healthcare providers to address their medical debt before it's reported. New third-party medical collections will be added to credit reports only after 1 year has passed. Currently is reported after 6 months. Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax will also no longer report third-party medical collection debt under at least $500 starting sometime in the first half of 2023. How is this going to affect your FICO scores? The percent of people with FICO scores that have a paid medical collection reported is relatively low at about 2%, and approximately 10% of the people with FICO scores have a reported medical collection less than $500. The most recent FICO score versions already have logic in place that bypasses all third-party collections, including medical, that are paid in full or those with an original amount under $100 and place less weight on unpaid medical debt relative to other unpaid bills. FICO Score 8 bypasses all third-party collections with an original amount under $100. The potential impact on a person's FICO scores associated with these changes will depend on both the amount of the collection and information removed as a result of these changes, as well as the other information contained in the person's credit report. If the consumer has other negative items reported in their credit file, the recency, frequency, and severity of those negative items will continue to be assessed by the score. Therefore, the removal of paid third-party medical collections and/or third-party medical collections under $500 may have a more modest impact on the score. If the third-party medical collection is the only negative item reported, its removal could have a more substantial positive impact on the score. If you want more information on this, give me a call, 800-306-1990. Put you in touch with our friend Jeff Sipes and his team over there at Blue Water Credit. They do a great job for the listeners of Ron Siegel Radio. Love the work that they do. And so much of the time, the consultations are always free. They always give you a free and upfront consultation to give you an idea. If you can do the items on your own, they're going to help you, tell you to do it on your own. So it's just total benefit to you. What else we got going on? That's the Your Credit Matters segment, brought to you by creditsanitizer.com. Love the cues I get from Josh. It helps all the time. Now I get to thinking about what's going on in the world and where we're heading next, and he keeps tracking me in the background over there. So that's a great assistance there. What is it? I guess was it North Carolina could have used a few more assists yesterday, especially in that second half. Boy, I bet there's a lot of people that were upset when they turned that game off after the first half. Ugh, what a game. Let's take a look. We haven't talked about this in a while because we're still seeing it. I don't know how long we're going to see this continuing, but appraisal gap. What is an appraisal gap? So here's the issue. There's a question mark right now. And I'm going to share this with you because there's a lot going on in the real estate world. And it's still a great time to buy real estate. No matter what anybody says, it's a great time to buy real estate because the property you buy will be your own. It'll be your safety net. It'll be your security. It's a hedge against inflation. A lot of benefits there. But here's the issue. If you're thinking about buying and you have to bid up, I mean, I'm still hearing about people that have to bid significant amounts of money in order to get their offers accepted. And we're watching all these things, and they end up going and they bid over the asking price. And then the appraiser's got to come in and figure out, how do we get to the purchase contract price? And what is the consumer going to do if they don't get there? Well, the answer to that is simple: an appraisal gap program. And not everybody has an appraisal gap program because not everybody's looking at the guidance like we do at Ron Siegel Radio. rsrappraisalgap.com. Now, it doesn't work if you're doing on down payment assistance or a minimal down payment. But if you've got a little bit of a down payment, the appraisal gap will work. And basically what it is, it says you can buy a house up over the appraised value. That's not the appraisal gap. That's just the way life is. You can buy a house over appraised value. That's not a problem with that. The loan amount is going to be based on the loan to value is going to be based on the appraised value. So let's just say with some numbers here that you're buying a $500,000 property and the appraisal comes in at $475,000. Your loan is going to be based on $475,000. The gap is the difference between $500,000 and $475,000, $25,000. Now, you can bring that money into escrow. That's painful, especially if you're tight on money. But you can bring that money into escrow, or you can work with a firm, a team like ours at Siegel Lending Team, who has the appraisal gap program. rsrappraisalgap.com will actually show you what that exact program looks like. You can come up with a fraction of that $25,000. Your payment is not going to change. Your loan amount is not going to change. But the way the loan to value is addressed, that's where the changes will come from. So we want to keep your payment the same, and you may have to come up with $2,000 instead of $25,000, or $3,000 instead of $25,000. Not giving you any exact numbers here. I'm just giving you a concept. This is how it works. So I just want you to be aware of that's out there. rsrappraisalgap.com. And who knows? Saw a recent article that maybe buyers are getting priced out of the market. Well, that's not really true. They're not priced out of the market. They might just have to revise where they look. That's $600,000 pre-approval. If you don't have a plan, could be that you have to go and spend $550,000. If you have a plan, if you're working with a team that understands this, here's the issue. Sellers care about the price of a property. That's the 500,000, 600,000, 700,000. Buyers, for the most part, want the property, and they're going to have to deal with the cost of the property. What is the cost? What's the difference between price and cost? Cost is what's coming out of your pocket every month, right? So if you're paying $500,000 for a property, but your mortgage and taxes and insurance and everything else is, say, $3,500. I don't know what it is. I just threw a number out of the sky. $3,500 is the cost. That's what buyers are worried about. Can I afford it? You ever notice when you go into a car dealer? Same issue. They're not dealing with the big number of the car. They're dealing with, can you afford the payment? Well, that's what you're looking at as a house also, right? You're looking at, can I afford the payment? If the house, if I said to you, you can buy a $1.5 million house and your payment without negative amortization, which was happened in 2007, but your fully amortized payment is going to be $3,000 and you can afford $3,000. You don't mind, the $1.5 million is not the issue. It's $3,000. Now, if I said it's $3,500, but you can only afford $3,000, it doesn't matter. That's a great, great deal. What really matters is that you can afford it or you can't afford it. That's where the whole issue comes from. So watch that, be aware of that. As always, we ask you, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. Big thanks to Josh and Sean who are engineering us today. And Levin's on the board with them. He's our trainer right now. So we got a newbie with us. And we certainly appreciate you for joining us. As always, we ask you, come back here. We'll be here. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.